the beginning of this year when I did my sort of goals and resolutions for the year, I talked about wanting to do some just random non-bookish videos and kind of inject more of me into the channel and kind of let you guys get to know me more. And ever since then it's been mostly all books all the time. And I think partly because it just felt a little freeing to have made that decision. Once I made that decision, the book stuff didn't feel like a burden anymore, and so I was excited to talk about it again. Also, it's easy, it's what I've been doing for the better part of a decade, but whatever the reasons, other than a couple bullet journal videos and a card tutorial, I've only really talked about books and had some vlogs. But it kind of popped in my head the other day that there's something I want to talk about in a video or just with people in general, and that is dreams, because I have been having the weirdest dreams lately, and I love not only talking about my weird dreams but also hearing about other people's weird dreams. So that's what we're going to do today, just a random ass chat all about weird dreams. So as I said, I've been having really weird dreams, and I've been waking up and putting them in my phone when I am coherent enough to do so, and they've just been building up and they're so weird. Now, I'm no stranger to weird dreams. I once dreamt that Jesus showed up at my house and told my parents they were bad parents and then took me to lunch at McDonald's because I was hungry. This is especially funny because I'm not actually religious, so lunch with Jesus, you know. One time after my dad set out mouse traps, because we had a field behind our house and we would sometimes get field mice in the winter, I had a dream that all of these mice were just falling over dead left and right, just like walking along, and I was like freaking out and trying to figure out what was going on, and it was like a scientist, you know, like I think I had like a lab kit trying to analyze what was going on with these mice. And then a little like old, gnarled, wizened rat came along, and he had a little crook cane and told me that I didn't need to be concerning myself with the health problems of rodents. And that was the end of the dream. I had a dream once where everyone and everything in it was geometric, like roly-poly-oly, and it was like a multi-level highway in the sky, and on every single level, all of the geometric shapes were doing it. Me and weird dreams, we go way back, but lately they've just been taking the cake. So I'm gonna start with one that just cracks me the hell up every time I think about it. Little backstory to this. A guy that I used to work with has a cat named Zoe that he dresses up in outfits. I guess that must have been on my mind. Now, this was right after the kittens were born. They were in a box on my bed. I could hear them during the night, and I'm sure that's a big part of why I had this dream. But I dreamt that me and the guy I worked with, were at this big convention thing that we used to do out of town for work. And his cat, Zoe, was there, and he was showing me some of her outfits, or we were talking about her outfits or something, and all of a sudden, this gigantic spider, like seriously softball-sized spider, tan, kind of looked like a coconut husk, dropped down from the ceiling and hit the floor, loud enough for us to hear it, and Zoe pounced, and we were freaking out. I was freaking out. He was cracking up. But I was freaking out, saying, like, she could be poisonous, it's gonna kill Zoe, we need to get her. And so he's just sitting there laughing. I'm trying to rescue his cat, and I finally pull her away, and the spider has been torn to bits. But in its place is not spider bits. There's like the husk still, but what has come out of that coconut husk is like a koi fish head and some reddish lobster meat. Kind of looked like, it wasn't lobster meat, but kind of looked like that, like a cross between lobster meat and a tongue, and then some like black wormy innards just laying there, and the koi fish mouth was like gasping, and then it starts pulling and like pulsing towards the coconut husk, like it's gonna pull itself back together. And at this point I'm like, oh my god, this is definitely a mutant. I'm witnessing the end times right now. I like freak out and I call him over to look, and he starts looking, and Zoe gets out of my hands, pounces, is trying to eat it, and he's cracking up again because he's an idiot. So I'm like trying to pull Zoe off, and I finally do, and when I pull her away, it's like the pieces are there for just a minute, and then all of a sudden they vanish in like a poof, and it's kittens, like a writhing mass of kittens. And in my dream, I knew that the kittens were a lie. You know, like the kittens were a lie. It was covering for it. It was like trying to mask whatever was going on, whatever weird alchemy was forming the koi fish, lobster meat intestines back into a coconut spider. So that was the dream. It was really, really weird. And that was kind of the dream that kicked off like a whole run of weird dreams. It was like daily I was waking up like, what? One that I had shortly after that was really long and involved. Do you ever have those dreams where it's like, it's a full-on movie, like feature-length film in your dreams? Even though you know it happens like that, it's so quick. This one was like that, and it started out at a beach, and it was like I was part of it, but also watching it, and knew that it was a movie. So it was like I'm watching it like a play, but I'm also involved in it, and I'm kind of seeing it being directed and come together at the same time, which itself is weird. There was like some Ashton Kutcher lookalike. He was the main character, I think. And then there was some sweet little like period piece damsel that was also in it, and then she had like a maid, like a Downton Abbey maid, that looked like, it's a British actress, I don't know her name. She played a pig in Doctor Who once. Anyway, they were like on a beach date, I think, like a picnic date, and I think it was a rom-com, and then all of a sudden there's like a battle of the bands setting up on another side of the beach. And in the dream it was like both an issue for the movie that was being filmed, like, hey, you guys can't have the beach because we're having our picnic rom-com, and also an issue for the characters in the film in the dream, that people in the Battle of the Bands were like messing with them or whatever. So anyway, this kind of goes on and on with like arguments between the characters in my dream, and this rapper who's getting ready to perform for the Battle of the Bands. Hold up, I totally forgot to tell you that the rapper for the Battle of the Bands came out of nowhere. It was like he came up, saw that there was a movie being filmed, and that there was a Battle of the Bands being set up, and he thought this was his big break, and was just gonna jump in out of nowhere. So, lots of drama in this dream. Meanwhile, the girl, little damsel, went up into the lighthouse that was on the beach. I don't know, she had stormed off or something, and her maid goes to find her. Now, Ashton and the rapper guy are kind of arguing, but also the rapper's trying to get Ashton to come up with his own rap and be part of the Battle of the Bands, I think. And then all of a sudden the maid starts screaming. Now, what had happened was, the maid had gone up to the top of the lighthouse, found her woman, her missus that she's taking care of, in anaphylactic shock, and smelled her and realized that it was because someone had sprayed her with cheesecake-scented body spray, and she was allergic to cheesecake. So she starts screaming anaphylaxis desperately at the top of her lungs, and that was where I was woken up by one of the cats. And I was so disappointed because I didn't get to complete the dream and find out if she dies from the cheesecake-scented body spray, and also listen to the rap song that I know my brain was about to make up, because I'm sure it would have been hilarious. So frustrated by that. Another one that I've had a lot of dreams where I had to save the world and then something ridiculous. So like, I have to save the world, but I have to do it in this giant, like, Oldsmobile-sized car that will only go in reverse. Or, I have to save the world, but my eyes are completely crusted over with something and I can't see. Or, one time in my, like, 20s, I dreamt that I was back in my 6th grade classroom with 3 of my classmates, and we were trying to solve some big mystery on the blackboard, but we were sitting at desks and each taking turns at the blackboard every time we had something to kind of add to it, and the desks were too small, and so we had to struggle to get out of it to go over to the blackboard and then come back and sit down. And I don't know why we didn't just stand up, but every time it was this big struggle to get out of the desk. And so it was this serious moment. We're trying to, you know, solve some big crime, but also like this weird slapstick moment of being stuck repeatedly in desks. I have a lot of weird save the world dreams. The most recent one, I was part of a group, and it was like we were doing a save the world scavenger hunt. We had a mission. It was very important. But to find out what the mission was and to complete the mission, we first had to do a scavenger hunt. And the scavenger hunt led us to this room where we were told we needed to fix all of the many, many parts that were in this room to make a machine work that would then save the world. To fix the parts, you had to find the right pairs and put these pieces on them. And it was one of those weird dream moments where I'm doing it, I'm doing the thing in the dream, but I don't actually see the thing that I'm doing, you know, I wasn't aware of what I was doing, I just knew I was working and fixing the parts. So, it's like this mad dash, it's kind of a race, it was a challenge, you know, in this saving the world scenario. And I'm running around the room trying to find the right pieces to put on these different parts in the right order to make it all work. And all of a sudden it starts coming together and it's like everything's moving and working and it's like steam powered. There's like steam belching everywhere. And we're told, congratulations, it worked, you guys saved the world. And we stop to look at our handiwork, me and a kid from my Latin class in high school. It is various steamer trunks and tea kettles, light bulbs, a couple apples, and what we had done to fix them was put appropriately sized googly eyes on them. And once they all had the googly eyes, they came to life and started working. All of the apples and steamer trunks and teapots. And we saved the world, so you're welcome. What the hell is that? What is that? I don't know what goes on in my brain. Oh, this is the last one because I'm sure this video is long enough. But basically in this one I was at a college with a girl that I used to tutor with and I'm friends with, and we were both applying, I think, to get into like a program at this college. And basically you went in and got the application from a vending machine, and before you could even fill it out, the secretary was there and she was like looking up like a full giant file about you. It had everything about you and everything you'd ever done, and she determined right then and there, before you'd even filled it out, whether you were gonna get into the school. So we were doing that and waiting to find out if we were gonna get in. And it was basically determined that we were, so then we had to still go out and fill out the application. So we went out to like the courtyard area to sit in the sun and fill out the application, and I'm sitting there kind of with my knees, you know, bent and the forms propped on my knees and just happily filling them out. And I look down, and on my knee, growing out of my knee, is a teeny tiny, like long, skinny, blue-capped mushroom. Just popped up right out of my knee. And in my dream, I'm freaking out because like I give it a tiny tug and I'm like, nope, I don't want to just pull it because it'll break. And I know that mushrooms are bigger under the ground than they are above the ground. So under the surface of my knee is like a whole network of blue cap mushroom just waiting to spring out, and I didn't want to disturb it and just be like taken over by these blue cap mushrooms growing out of me. But at the same time, you know, I'm freaked out, so I start kind of just gently pulling it and then decide the better option is to like squeeze it almost like a pimple. So I start like pushing it, and like this long tube of like black dry looking fungus just comes oozing out, and like a sausage. Just horrified, just disgusted, you know. That was it. That was the end of the dream, and I woke up and I know like my knee was hurting, I was sleeping funny, and that was probably why I dreamed that. But like a fungus growing out of my knee, a blue mushroom growing out of my knee, and even in my dreams knowing that there's more under the skin, because you know fungus has an underground system. Just, you know, brains are weird is the moral of the story. I'm sure there are a whole lot more. I have weird dreams all the time. I want to get more into a habit of writing them down because they crack me up when I go back over them. So maybe we'll do this again sometime. But until then, I so very much want to hear about your weirdest dreams in the comments because they are hilarious and just delightful. You can try to analyze them if you want. You can analyze your dreams. You can analyze mine and why you think that I dream the weird ass shit that I do. But just talk to me because they crack me up. I've never had a lot of the common ones like, you know, teeth falling out or naked in front of your class or whatever. I've never really had dreams like that. My recurring dreams are the weird, saving the world, and when I was a kid I would have a dream where I was being chased around and around and around a house. Everything was in black and red, and I was being chased around a house by a man with a knife, and I knew there was a set of stairs. It was my grandma's house. Just remembered that. It was my grandma's house. And there was a set of stairs to go up into the door, but if I turned to go up those stairs, it would slow me down just that little bit because we were so evenly paced that he would catch me. I don't know how I knew that as a 5-year-old, but I did. So that's a weird note to end on. 5-year-old having dreams of being murdered. Okay, so that's it for now. Please, please, please tell me your dreams in the comments. And if you want to see more videos about weird ass dreams or just more weird chat videos like this in general, let me know that too, or give this one a like, and I will make a note to put more of them in my schedule. But that is all for now. Thanks for sticking with me in this weird dreams video. Looking forward to chatting with you guys, but until then, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.